Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ITS128, and today's November 1st, and I'm going to go through the challenge activities in Chapter 8 today. So let me share my screen. All right, so we're in this month, but I'm going to go over the challenge activities back here because I haven't done it yet. But I do want to point out, for those of you that have been paying attention to the videos, I have done a few videos since the last time we met in person, and although no one's here. If you go to this, if you click on resources and go to this link down here, which I might rename, I think I might rename it, but anyway, it's this bottom link there, and this shows, these are all the labs for this semester. And these are the equivalent lab sections numbers, the lab numbers from a previous semester, mostly fall 2021, but some of them are spring 2021, which is the semester before fall 2021. And they have different they have different numbers because, I renumber my sections and everything each semester. But there are videos, within these videos, you see where I go over a lot of each of these labs. In many of them, I don't give you all this. I don't go all the way to the end, but many of them I do. And so what I just did earlier today was these two. When I was compiling this list, I noticed that these two were brand new labs that weren't covered in any previous semester. So I recorded those earlier today, and they're posted up in video 12 of this playlist here that this video is in. This is video 13 of the playlist, and I'll post this up later today. So anyway, I've compiled all the way up through chapter 10, which I think is pretty close to where we should be in. Chapter 10 would have been last week. And so I'll continue to work on this list, and because I want to have I want to help you out with all the labs and all the challenge activities, not do all of them for you, but sometimes, it takes you, sometimes when learning a new language, and you're learning a new language, things, you're wondering what, you don't have the context. If we were learning Python as a second language, then I wouldn't need to, I wouldn't even go over the challenge activities. You do those yourselves. Anyway, so I was going to do chapter 8 today. So let's go see what we got here. Lists and dictionaries. This is it's timely that we cover lists, because the video I just made earlier today was the chapter 3. The chapter 3 I did these last two, and the first one is list basics. Anyway, so let's take a look at lists, and there's challenge activities in the first couple sections here. So let's try to get through the first couple sections here to cover those challenge activities. Okay, so lists are it's a data structure that's built into Python, and it's like arrays in other languages. In other languages, there are things called arrays, and it's a bunch of elements that are collected together, and there's certain properties, like sometimes there can't be repeats, sometimes they have an order, sometimes they don't, and so on. But a list is one, and the elements in the list have an order, so that means they can be indexed. So you can refer to the fifth element in the list. And there can be repeats. There can be, you know, many elements that all are exactly the same. And so it's a very commonly used data structure. And there's a bunch of built-in methods also. So make sure you step through these and understand what they are. This is how you create a list. In this case, we're creating a list called animals, and this list contains 4 animals. This is what they are. These are strings. This list contains 4 strings, and they have an order. So this is the index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, index 3, and so on. So this is here we're printing animals 0, so it would be cat, and then should be an enter there, but it's a print. Anyway, so make sure you go through this. This is some common list operations. This is creating a list. Here we're creating a list called my list. Contains 3 integers. And see, you can print any list just like this, and it prints it out just like that. Nice and convenient. You can create a new list this way. This is an iterable, and you can create a list. Okay, so this creates a list. This is how you would index an element in the list. By that I mean how you get at it. And so in this case, we have a list like this, and you get at it by, if you want to look at the first element, not the 0th element, the first element. This is the 0th element. This is the first element. So if we want to print out the first element, the number 1 index element, it would look like that. You can do this this way of creating a sublist, just like strings. With strings are like in a list of characters, kind of mostly like that. And then you can add to a list this way. This creates a new list that contains the elements of this list plus the elements added to the end, the elements of this list, so on. So these are common operations. And see here, you can see you can change an element, and that means that for you to be able to do that, a list is mutable. It means you can change a list, and that also means if you pass a list to a method as an argument, that method can mess with the list. And when that method is done, that your list might be different. Okay, so you gotta kind of remember that when you're using list. It's not like a string. It's not like anything else that's immutable. Where if something is immutable, you aren't passing the element itself to be mutated. You're passing basically a copy of the element. And the method can do with it what it wants, but it's not going to change, the original argument, that you're passing. So anyway, so go through this, and let's get to some challenge activities here, because I know that's what you're waiting for. All right, enter the output for the list. So here we're bringing out. This is just easy stuff. Okay, so I guess it's just this. And I guess we're going to have this. Now, I'm not sure about the spaces. Okay, I might not get this right, because I'm not sure if you put spaces there or not. I guess you do. All right, let's do this one. Yeah, I know. So here, So the lists are mutable. So this means we can change an element of the list. So we have this list that looks like that, and we're going to print out that list, but in between, we're going to do some mutating. So I'm going to start by just putting this list there so I can keep track. So I'm going to start with this, and it's going to have that. Now, user value 2s, I'm going to change user values 2. So I'm going to change the 8. Okay, well, what am I going to change the 8 to? I'm going to change the 8 to 8 plus 1. So it looks like I'm going to change this 8 to a 9. And then this one, I'm going to change user values 1. Well, that's this one. And what am I going to change that to? I'm going to take user values 1 and add 2 to it and store that back into user values 1. So that would make this an 8, I think. So let's see if this is correct. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's look at the 5th one here. Clever. All right, so let's do this. Take the same approach, copy and paste, and there's going to be one of those. And so first of all, I'm going to take user values 2, and so that'd be this one, and I'm going to replace that with user values 1. Well, what's user values 1? It's 5. So it looks like I'm going to put a 5 here. Okay, and then I'm going to take user values 1. Which one is that? Oh, it's this one. And I'm going to make that be instead equal to whatever user value 0 is. Well, what's that? That's this one. So basically, I'm just taking this and I'm putting it here. All right. And then I'm printing it out. Yeah, there we go. All right. Very good. Let's just look at the next one here. Modify short names by deleting the first element and changing the last element to Joe. Well, so we're going to input something, and then we're going to split it. Sam. Okay. All right, so we're going to read in something that looks like this. There's 4 names there and separated by space. And then we're going to split them. So now we have this list. This list contains Gertrude, Sam, Anne, and Joseph. And then we're supposed to do something where the first element, delete the first element and change the last element to Joe. So delete the first element, that'd be deleting Gertrude, deleting index 0, and then changing index, it's no longer index 4, it's no longer index 3, it's index 2, because if we delete this first element, deleting the first element and changing the last element to Joe. All right, so deleting the first element. Let's look at some list methods. List methods. I'm in list. I'm in 8.1. Okay, so I must have gone over some list methods here. What I want to know is how I delete an element in the list. And let's say, oh, I bet it's going to tell me here. Here we go. Del my list of I deletes whatever that is. Okay, this is the one I want. Del, I say del and then the element I want to delete. So, first of all, I'm going to delete. I'm going to del short names of zero. That deletes the first element. And is that, I think I'm doing this right. Where is that grade thing again? Yeah, del minus divide looks just like this. Okay. So I delete that one. And then they get renumbered because the first one's gone. And so if they get renumbered, now this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. And I'm going to change 2 from Joseph to Joe. So I think I can just do this. Short names of 2 equals Joe. I think I can just do that. Let's see if that's right. Hey, okay. All right, list methods. Oh, now they tell us all the list methods. Well, that's good. So these are the methods that you can use to add something to a list. This adds a single element item. This adds another list. This appends a list to a list. And then here you're inserting an element at a particular position. So here we're inserting as index 1. The element at index 1 is now going to be 1.7, and everything else gets pushed up 1. So it did look like this, and now 1.7 is index 1, and the 8 got pushed up to 2. All right, and this is removing. See, these methods that just come along with this thing are used to implement a special set of common abstract data types that are based on a list called stacks. So there's a stack and a queue and a deck. And in Python, these methods just come along with the list, data type, data structure. And we don't have to spend any time at all teaching you how to implement a stack or a queue or a deck, other than to just tell you, just to point out which methods are used to do the push and the pop functions of a stack, and the NQ and the DQ functions of a queue, and so on. So anyway, so that's this. This is for sorting. You can reverse the elements of a list. That's pretty clever. And you can return the index of an element, or return the index of, and this is a value that's looking for a value called of X, and returns it returns the index of X, and so on. It counts how many X's there are in there. All right, so let's look at some. So let's look at some challenge activities here. All right. Sort short names in reverse alphabetical order. Reverse. Oh. How about short names sort, and then short names reverse? Is that what this? I don't remember what they are. All right, there's sort and reverse. Okay, so that's what I think it is. First you sort it, and then you reverse it. Yes, that's what you do. All right, iterating over a list. There are no. Well, there is a challenge, and so let's do that one, and then there's this. Then there's a break. Then we can take a break. All right, then I'll end the video. All right, so this is iterating over a list. It's pretty important. Two ways you can iterate over a list. You can just do a for loop like this, where you for each iteration of the for loop, my var starts with the first element of the list, then does the body, then it does it with the second element of the list and the third element of the list, and so on. Or you can do indexing. You can just index through it like this, where you for index in a range of the length of the nums, that would be 0 to up to the length of the list. Of course, you don't include the last one, so it ends up counting right. And so you'd index it that way. You either index it this way, where this is just an element of the list, or you do it this way, where this is an integer value, an index, integer value, and here you refer to the element at that index. So those are the two ways. And so you iterate away and blah, blah, blah. You can see, do that. Make sure you go through this. And a built-in enumerate function iterates over a list and provides the iteration counter. Okay. Let's see, when would you use that? Of course, there's these built-in functions too. Like this. Okay, so this is a even fancier, where you get both the index and the value. So this POS is the position, and this is the value. Don't you see? So you put this, by doing it this way, instead of just putting tokens, you put enumerate tokens. This is going to give you one pair of values at a time. This is the pair. And the first one, this is going to be 0. The second one, this is going to be 1. Third one, this is going to be 2, and so on. And this is going to be the actual elements themselves. All right, so that's pretty cool. You can do that. All right, let's do it, the challenges. There's 2 of them. Oh, 3 of them. All right. Let's see. Okay. All right. All right. Hey, write a loop to populate the list that with a number of guesses. The variable this is the number of guesses the user will have, which is read first as an integer. Read each guess one at a time using an input. So I got okay, so it's going to tell me how many guesses they get. Okay, so the first thing you get is a 3. Oh, and then we're supposed to print this out. We're supposed to make a list. Oh, okay. All right. All right. For I in range of user guesses. No, none guesses. In that range. First you have to ask the user. You have to ask the user for a number. So that would be input. But you want to change that to an integer. You better make sure the person types in an integer, and you want to change it to an integer. So let's put int around it. And you want to do something with this. You want to add it to this list here. You want to add whatever that is to the list. And how do you do that? Maybe user guesses dot append. Can I do append? Append will work, I think. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna first get the I'm going to get the 9, and I'm going to make it an integer, because when it comes in, it's a string. And then I'm going to, once I turn it into an integer, I'm going to append it onto the end of this, and then this is going to print it out. All right, let's see if this works. Well, what do you know? All right, what's the next one? Assign some extra with the total extra credit received given a list of test grades. Iterate through the list with like this. Okay, so I'm given a list of test grades. Okay, so here's we do this. Boy, that turn my communicator off. So first I read in something. I read in a list. I read in this list here. It looks like these are some scores. There's some test grades. I read in 4 test grades. And what I do is I want to figure out how much extra credit, how much extra credit there is being given. And so in this test grade, it looks like there was 1 extra credit given because it's over 100. And there's 7 extra credits given. So so 7 here, 1 here, there was none here and none here. So that would be 8. So it prints out 8. See, this is because it adds it up this way. All right, so how do I do that? Well, first I read in this. That's that. And then I split it into, so now this thing right here, this right there, that is a list. That's a list with 4 elements in the list, and but they're strings. These are strings. They're not numbers yet. And then this is some fancy map function, which I've seen this, but it's just, don't see this very often. The map function, which is going to take each of the elements and convert it into an integer. I guess you're just supposed to know this. But anyway, it's a list. Why do we need that? So test grades is a list, and it has got 4 elements in it, and they are integers, 4 integer elements. It's because of this mapping thing. And okay, so we have all the test grades there, and now we're going to sum up the extra credit. So let's do many ways I can do this. I'm going to do it this way. Oh, they want me to do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to do it that way. Okay, for each grade in test grades, if grade is greater than 100, then sum extra equals sum extra plus 100 minus grade. Okay, so like if it's 107, if grade is 107, see, is grade greater than 100? Yes, it is. So it's going to do something. It's going to take, here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do it this way. Now, this might be confusing, so I'm going to put parentheses around this. I think I need to put parentheses around this, because otherwise... So if grade is greater than 100, then I'm going to take, yeah, I want to do grade, I'm going to do grade minus 100. Let's see, so it would have been better. Okay, so so let's say it's 107. If it's 107, then this is just going to be 7, right? Because this is going to subtract off 100 of it. So, and it only does this when the grade is greater than 100. So for this one, it's going to do it because the grade is greater than 100, and it's going to take 101 minus 100. And so this is going to be, this quantity here is 1. And so 1 gets added onto the sum extra. So now it's sum extra equals sum extra plus that. And then it goes to this one. Well, grade is not greater than 100, so this, it skips that. This one, it is greater than 100, so it takes, it takes the old sum extra, which is 1, and it adds to it the, the amount over 100, 7. Anyway, so this should work. All right, the last one is write a loop to print all elements in this particular list. Separate the elements using this thing. Oh boy, this looks like such a tough one. For temperature in hourly temperature, doesn't have to be temperature. How about if I just call it T? For T in hourly temperature, for each of the T's, we want to wait a minute. I'm going to want to print all of the temperatures, but I only want to print this symbol after all the temperatures but the last one. I don't want to print that symbol out after the last one. So I think I'm going to use indexing instead. So I'm going to do for I for index in the range of the length of hourly temperature. Okay. The length of hourly temperature in this case is going to be 4. So I in the range of 4 is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. And so that's what, so the first time I'm going to print, well, let's see, for sure I'm going to print whatever the temperature is. So let me print that. Print hourly temperature of I, print that, and to tell you what, I'm going to do this real basic like. I'm going to say and equals nothing because I don't want to, I just want to decide what I'm going to do later. Okay, so I printed out the temperature, and now I want to see if it's the last temperature. Because if it's the last temperature, I do not want to print out that little arrow. If it's not the last temperature, then I do want to print out the arrow. And the last temperature is going to be the length of hourly temperature minus 1, because the length of hourly temperature is, in this case, is 4. And I'm talking about index number 3. When the index is 3, this last one's going to be printed out. And so the last index is the length of hourly temperature minus 1. So let me just do that. If I is less than the length of hourly temperature minus 1, if I is less than the length of hourly temperature minus 1, then print space dash arrow space quote comma and equals nothing. Okay. And after everything is all done, then I'll just do print to, print out the new line. So that's what I think. Let's see if this works. What? It didn't say print out a space after that. That's bogus, man. All right. Else, I'm gonna print space and oh, wait a second. Oh, no. Space. There we go. That'll print out a space at the end. All right, let's see. It's 2:14. There's nobody here, so I'm gonna end this video and start up another video for. See, we're doing. Let me close on this. This one we are doing. Let's see. We just finished 8.3. And so I tell you what, I won't end the video. I'll just keep on going. Okay, so here's some nice list games that you can play. Oh, I guess you have to play them because otherwise you won't get, this is 120. You have to play them, otherwise you won't get the points. Here, I'll do one. If a new maximum value is seen, then click store value. Try again to do your best time. Okay, so as I see numbers, I don't even know where I'm going to see them. But if I see a number that's a new maximum value, I'm supposed to hit store value. Okay, here we go. Oh, bump. That's a new one. Bump. No, that's not a new one. Not a new one. Not a new one. Bump. That's it. What do I do now? Is that it? Oh, I should have done that before. So anyway, fool around with it. I got the points. And practice. And if a negative value is seen, then you increment. And if If the largest value, move the largest value to the rightmost position of the list. If the larger of the two current values on the left, then swap the values. Try again. This is like sorting. So let's see, what am I supposed to do? Start. That looks okay. So that looks okay. Oh, I gotta swap these. Okay. Oh, gotta swap these. Swap these. Swap these. Okay. Okay, anyway. Let's do this one. List nesting. Okay, so you can one nice thing about a list that makes it different than what we call an array in other languages is that the elements of the list do not need to be homogeneous. They don't have to be all the same. And in fact, they can even be lists themselves. So you can have a list of lists, and often you do. We're going to see a lot of this. It's another thing that's very common is in dictionaries is elements of a dictionary will be, can be lists. But we'll see all that soon. So anyway, here's an example: list nesting. Yeah, lists can have lists. Look, this list has 3 elements in it, and each element is a list, and each of the lists looks like has exactly 2 elements in it. Yeah. What do you know? Okay, so let's go through this. Oh, this is how you reference, how you refer to index-wise, how you and so this is the tic-tac-toe 0th list, and this is the 0th element in the tic-tac-toe. So this is the 0, 1, 2, and within 0 it's 0, 1, 2, and within 1 it's 0, 1, 2, and within 2 it's 0, 1, 2, so on. All right. So this is nested lists. Go through these examples, get all the participation activities. All right, print multiplication table. Print the 2-dimensional list mult table row by row and column. On each line, each character is separated by a space. Hint, use nested loops. Okay, nested loops. Okay, so we have the input looks like this, and we want to print this out. Okay, so we're going to read this in, and first we're going to split on the comma, and when we split on the comma, we're going to get 3 elements. This is 1 element, and this is the 2nd element, and this is the 3rd element. And then we're going to take each of those elements and split on a space, and that's going to give us 3 elements for a list of 3 elements as the first element of this outer list, and so on. So so we're going to read in, this reads in this whole thing. This splits it on a comma, and so now we have 3 lines. One of them is 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, then that. And then we're going to make sure that they are all integers. We don't have to make sure that they're all integers. We don't have to change them to integers. Okay. That's not part of the problem. I mean, we can treat them as characters, but for some reason, we're going to convert them to integers. Why? So we have to suffer through a big, complicated statement like that. That's one thing about Python. You never see a statement that complicated in any other language. So anyway, now I'm going to write all this out. I want to write it out like this. Okay, so I'm going to use 2 for loops. For I in Um, right. So I think I go 4i in range of mult table. I think that just takes care of the outer one. And then I have to do 4j in range of mult table of I. Okay. And then I think I go this is I got to do the same kind of thing I did up here, don't I? Or I did in the last one. Okay. So I'm gonna print. I'm gonna make a Zybooks for this one. So let me open up. A Replit for this one. And I'm gonna. What time is it? Yeah, I got it. So let me go to Teams, and let me go to ITS128, and I'm gonna go to make a new project, and I'm gonna call it this. Copy. Copy. Paste. Okay, create. And I am going to take this over here. Just copy, and I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm going to take this here. And I'm going to put it up here as a comment. Okay. And I'm going to, all right, I guess this is fine. And I'm going to run this, design it, and run it incrementally. Okay, so mult table I, and so now I'm going to do print J. No, print mult table of I of J. Okay, print that. And then I want to do an end equals nothing. No, what am I doing? End equals nothing. So that prints the number. No, that prints the element. And then I want to, and then if tell you what, I'm just going to do, I'm going to do this. So this is going to print out the element followed by a vertical bar. So it's not going to be right, but it's a start. And then after this for loop is done, I want to print out I want to print a new line, that's all. Yeah, I want to print a new line, and that'll print a new line. So I'm going to see what this looks like. And I'm going to, let me enter input time is whatever. Okay, so and this is the input. Copy. And now I'm going to run this. Enter input, paste. List object cannot be interpreted as an integer. Oh, it's not range, it's len. Not range, it's len. Oh, range of len. Len. I think this is what it is. The len of this. Let's try this again. Is it still in my thing? Yeah, it is. Okay, see, that's pretty close. That's pretty dang close. So I'm gonna publish it now. I'm gonna publish this now. I'm gonna publish it, save. And what you have to do to fix this is to only you have to do something like what I did in the previous one. If J is less than no. If J is equal to the len of mult table of I, minus 1. If we are at the last one, then I just want to print mult table I J. That's it. It should be mult table. If we are at the last one, I want to print this just as is with the return and everything. Otherwise, do this. And I don't need this anymore. Yeah, why? Because it's the last one, and so this one will print the return. This one won't. Okay, so if you run this, is this still in there? No, maybe it's not. Copy this. Paste. Here. Okay, looks like that. So this, when this thing executes, it prints out one of these things, along with the return. And I'm gonna just leave this. I'm gonna leave this video. I'm gonna leave this the way it is, and I'm gonna let you fill this in. And if you have a problem with there being an extra space at the end of this or not, you can take care of it. Okay, and all you gotta do is just add a space at the end of that if it doesn't work. Anyway, so right now, if we look at the other version, I'm just going to open this and go to Replit. Teams 128. This one that this is the one I just did. We see that what I give you here is an earlier version. See, so you can take this and fix it. That's all I wanted to show you. But this is the finished one. Anyway, okay, so you can take care of that, and you can take care of that. What's the next one? List slicing. What time is it? Oh, it's only 2:30. Okay, so list slicing, okay, it's just like strings. Okay, you can slice out a section of a list by, you know, how you, with this index colon thing here, just like a string. Okay, same thing. This grabs out all of them. Remember, it doesn't grab out the last one. So 0, 1, 2, 3. This is not going to grab out the last one, I think. See, 0, 1, 2, but not the 3. This is going to output 1, but not the 2. So you could just leave it like that. You could just leave this off. Couldn't you? Anyway, so just go through this. Oh, here's an example. Okay, so just like with I think it's just like with strings. There's the start and the end, and of course, if you don't put anything in the start, it defaults to 0. If you don't put anything in the end, it defaults to the end of the list. So this thing defaults to the end of the list. This defaults to the beginning of the list because there's nothing there. And then this is a stride, or, you know, how many you're going to skip at a time. If you leave it blank, your stride is 1. It means you just get every one. But if your stride is 2, then you skip every other one, and so on. If you leave it, you know, if you don't define it, then the stride is 1. All right, so make sure you understand that. Go click through, get all the points. Here's a challenge: list slicing. Okay, so here we have a list, and we want 0 to 3. That's 0, 1, 2, and we output a 0. Okay, print it. Okay, so let's start this and see what this is. This is just easy peasy. 0, 1. So it's going to be 13, comma space 14. Close. Enter. Okay, let's do this one. This is going to be, it's just going to be one element. Which one? The third one. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. It looks like it's going to be 16. Actually, it is different than just the third one, because if you, well, anyway, yeah, because this is actually a list. Whereas if you were not to put something that looks like this, it would just be the element itself, I think. But anyway, I think I'm going to put 16, and I'm going to close that and press enter, see if this was right. Well, that's good. All right, let's do the last one. Oh, well, again, it's just going to be one element, and it's going to be -1, -2, -3, I think. So I think it's going to be 15, and I'm just guessing here. Well, all right, 8.7. modifying list, by gosh, I think we're gonna get, oh no, okay, so we're gonna get all the way through lists today. But then we still have to do dictionaries. It's only three dictionary sections. Okay, so 8.7. Loops modifying lists. Okay, sometimes the program iterates over a list while modifying the elements, such as changing some of the elements' values or by moving elements' positions. Okay, so here we're gonna go through and we're gonna add 5 to every list, every element in the list. Change negative values to 0, change negatives. Correct way to modify the list, incorrect way to modify the list. List is not modified. Okay. When you make your for loop this way, num is actually a copy. It's not, you aren't actually addressing the element itself. So this does not change the element inside the list. This does, though. Here we're iterating through an index, the index, and this actually here we look at what the element is, and here we actually write a value into this indexed, this index of this index, the element of the array at this index. See, so here we actually write something. Here we actually mutate the list, and here we're not mutating the list. We're not doing anything. All right, so that's what that's supposed to show. Here's a challenge. Let's get user values in the range of the length of print out okay, so here we're printing out each one, the 1, the 6, and the 9, and then there's going to be an enter at the end of the 9. So what is this going to do? I guess it's just going to be the same 1, 6, 9. Let's do this one. This is going to be print array. When the value is less than 0, print it. Otherwise, don't. So -2, enter, not the 3, not the 5, -7, enter. Let's see. Where? Let's do the last one. Ooh, this one's clever. Okay, so max value. We're going to look for the max value. For each position, if the value at that position is greater than the max value, then reset, then make that value be the new max value. And then in the end, print out the max value. So what am I supposed to do? Print out the max value. 7, enter. Oh, each time I get a new max value, I print it out. Each time there's a new max value, I print it out. So it wouldn't print out a new max value for this one, but it would for this one. Oh, I guess it would for this one too. Oh, because it's greater than or equal to the max value. So yes, it would for the 1 too. 1 also. So let's try. Let's see what they give me another chance here. All right. The max value starts out at 2, and then it's still greater than or equal to. It's still the length of all the max values. We set it. We store it the same way. So let's just get it right this time. 2, 6, 7. Okay. Let's see if this is right. Yeah. All right. Let's list modification. What's new about this? Changing the list size. Well, I guess when we do something like this, we definitely change the list size. When we do something like this, we're changing the list size also. Taking away elements. This adds elements to the end. All right, so copying a list. Oh, okay, so sometimes you want to copy a list to another list. And of course, iterating through each element of the list like this will do that. Why do we need to even have this? I wonder if it's because well, let's see what this does, because this will get all of them, but this might not get all of them. Let's see, let's just click through this. Okay, so this one goes through and first it removes the for val in nums1, if val is in nums2 for one of, okay, is this in nums2? No, that's all right. Let's look at this one over here. Well, anyway, you can go through that. I didn't quite catch that. All right, what's 8.7? Was there a, oh, I guess we already did the challenge activity 8.7. Okay, this is list comprehensions. It's kind of like uh they don't have anything like this in any other language that I know of, but this is a pretty common thing. It's pretty you should learn how to do these list comprehensions. And so what this does is this creates a new list, and it's designated by this thing here. So it's a list, it creates a list. And what this does is this is a for loop, and it's a for loop that's going to loop through everything, through all the elements of in a list. Something that's iterable. It doesn't need to be a list, it can be a dictionary or anything that's iterable. This looks at each one of them in the iterable list, and this will do something to it, like maybe make it an integer or add 5 to each element or whatever. But anyway, what's produced here is a list of elements, and this is how you get at it. So here's one where we're adding 5 to each one. For each, my list is just this, and for each element in my list, you know, take I and add 5 to it. And so it ends up being each element was you add 5 to it. So that's a list comprehension. So you know, we're going to see a lot of these. All right. Sorting. Okay. Time is it? 2:45. Let's do this last challenge activity, then we can end it. All right. So we have a list, and we want to make a new list where every element in the my list is multiplied by 3. And so we get this times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so great. And then we put the, okay, let's start. Every element is 3 is subtracted from every element. So what's -1 minus 3? Well, that sounds like it's about -4. What's 0 minus 3 is -3. What's 1 minus 3 is -2. And what's 2 minus 3 is -1, I guess. And I think I got to put these little braces around it. And let's see. Well, look at that. All right, let me do number 3. Oh, whoa, we are fancy. What's that? All right, well, I think it's still going to be every number in the list. I think this applies to the number. Actually, I'm not sure, so I'm going to guess. I'm going to be guessing here. So my first guess is that the end of the list has the same number of elements. So and for each one, we are adding 3 to every number. But I think we're only adding 3 to numbers that are greater than 0. We are not adding 3 to numbers that are not greater than or equal to 0. That's what I think. So I think it's going to be -3, -2. I could be wrong here, so I'm guessing -1. And if the number is greater than or equal to 0, then we add 3 to it. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's see if this is right. No, it's not. Okay, so my interpretation of this was wrong. What it is this has to be true for this to be included in the list. So you see, this is a smaller number. So let's try it again. It's going to give us another chance. All right, so this list is only going to include numbers out of here that are greater than -1, which is the same as greater than or equal to 0. I gotta be fancy. Okay, so we're only going to be talking about the numbers that are greater than -1 or greater than or equal to 0. So we're only talking about these numbers here. So it's only going to be 4. And we're going to add 5 to each one of those. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to put it here, starting with a square bracket. And I'm going to add 5 to each of these. Now I'm going to make this 5, make this 6, make this 7, make this 8, and I'm going to add a return. Let's see if I'm right this time. Wow. Okay. All right. This is a super fancy one. This has to be true before you include it. So that means the number's got to be greater than 0. That means the number's got to be greater than 0. And the number cannot be divisible by 2. Means we're only talking this one and this one. Why? Because number mod 2 is equal to 1. That means it's got to be an odd number, basically. So it's odd numbers greater than 0. So that'd be 1 and 3. So, and we're going to subtract 3 from them. So let's just do this one. I'm curious now. So I'm going to take the 1, subtract 3, and we get -2. Oops. -2. And what's 3 minus 3 is 0. All right. Well, we will take up sorting lists next time. And so I got you through the challenge activities for chapter 8 up to 8.8. So hope this helps. Thanks for watching.